At 3 a.m., when the world is quiet and darkness surrounds, there is a holy stillness that opens the heavens for divine encounters. Psalm 27 reveals the heart of a warrior who finds strength not in noise or action, but in intimate trust in God's presence. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1 becomes a declaration of unshakable faith, especially in the secret place of 3 a.m. prayer. This is not an ordinary hour, it's the hour of spiritual warfare, deliverance, and breakthrough. When you rise to seek God in these hidden moments, you step into divine alignment with His power. As David longed to dwell in the house of the Lord and behold His beauty, so too do we find peace, strategy, and strength in His presence during the early watch. The secret is not in the time itself, but in the surrender, the silence, and the seeking. 3 a.m. becomes the altar where fear is defeated, confusion is silenced, and divine breakthrough is born. The sacred hour of 3 a.m. The hour of 3 a.m. is more than just a moment in time. It is a divine invitation. It is during this quiet and sacred hour that heaven draws near to those who are willing to rise and seek the Lord. Psalm 27 begins with a declaration of fearless trust. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? This verse becomes especially powerful when spoken in the silence of the night. At 3 a.m., distractions fade, and the noise of the world grows still, making space for your spirit to hear God clearly. It's an hour of encounter when the veil between heaven and earth seems thin, and God's presence feels near. Breakthrough begins with seeking God. David's cry in Psalm 27:4 reveals a powerful truth. Breakthrough doesn't come from striving, but from seeking. One thing I ask from the Lord, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. The secret of 3 a.m. prayer is not in begging God for answers, but in desiring His presence above all else. When you seek God early, you are choosing intimacy over anxiety. Breakthrough happens when your heart is aligned with His will, not just your needs. At 3 a.m., you're not just praying for a miracle. You're becoming the kind of person God uses to release miracles, overcoming fear in the presence of God. Psalm 27 assures us that in God's presence, fear loses its grip. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. When you wake up to pray at 3 a.m., you are confronting the spiritual battles that often hide in the darkness. You're stepping into the authority that Jesus gave you, declaring light over every shadow of fear, worry, and doubt. These are the hours when spiritual warfare is most intense, but also when God's light shines brightest. As you pray, praise, and declare His promises, strongholds begin to break, and the peace of God floods your heart. Divine strategy and clarity. In the early hours, God reveals His plans to those who listen. Psalm 27:11 says, "Teach me your way, Lord. Lead me in a straight path." At 3 a.m., you're not just praying for change, you're receiving divine instructions. The Lord gives dreams, visions, and wisdom during this watch. This is when God reorders your thoughts and gives direction for battles ahead. The clarity you receive in these moments will carry you through confusion and chaos. The secret to lasting breakthrough is not just a prayer it's hearing, God's voice and following it boldly. Waiting with expectation. Psalm 27 ends with a powerful encouragement. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. The 3 a.m. prayer is often not about immediate answers, but faithful waiting. As you rise night after night, you're building a foundation of faith that can withstand any storm. God honors those who seek Him diligently, especially in the hidden hours. Your tears, your worship, your whispered prayers are not in vain. They are seeds of breakthrough. And in God's perfect time, He will move. What you birth in the secret place will manifest in the open. Keep praying. Your breakthrough is on the way. The fire of intimacy with God. There is something deeply personal about 3 a.m. prayer. It's not performance, it's intimacy. Psalm 27:8 says, "My heart says of you, seek His face. Your face, Lord, I will seek." In this hour, you're not just asking for God's hand, you're longing for His face. The quiet stillness of 3 a.m. is where deep love for God is kindled, where your soul yearns to know Him more. And in this sacred seeking you find joy, comfort, and restoration that nothing else in the world can give. This intimacy fuels breakthrough, because God always responds to those who seek Him with a whole heart, building unshakable confidence. David's confidence in Psalm 27 was built through experience in God's presence. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. Verse 3. 3 a.m. prayer builds that same unshakable confidence in your heart. It is not just about deliverance from trouble. It's about being strengthened through it. When you make it a habit to meet God in the early watches, you become spiritually alert, rooted, and courageous. Confidence comes not from your circumstances changing, but from knowing the God who never changes is with you, even in the darkness. A place of supernatural refuge. Psalm 27:5 says, "For in the day of trouble He will keep me safe in His dwelling." At 3 a.m. you enter that supernatural refuge. You step away from the noise of life and into the stronghold of God's peace. Here you're covered, hidden, and lifted above the enemy's reach. While others sleep, your soul is being renewed. God hides you in His pavilion, surrounds you with His angels, and speaks tenderly to your spirit. It is here, in this holy sanctuary of stillness, that breakthrough begins, not just for you, but for your family, your calling, and your future. Living a breakthrough lifestyle. 3 a.m. prayer is not just a moment. It's a lifestyle of surrender. Psalm 27 shows us that living in God's presence, day by day, brings continuous breakthroughs. When you make space for God in the darkest hour, you carry His light into every other hour of your day. You become a person of divine favor, spiritual clarity, and fearless faith. Your life becomes a testimony of Psalm 27, God's goodness, protection, and unfailing love. The secret to breakthrough isn't a formula, it's a heart fully yielded to Him, especially when no one is watching. Rise, pray, seek, and watch the Lord do the impossible.